Hello people of the internet and welcome back to Let's Play Dishonored. So last time we found a whole bunch of runes and stuff all lying around, and I was wondering what the hell that was. And a friend told me that it was basically some special edition thing that I probably got when buying the DLC a long time ago and things. So we'll just have a look at those and maybe equip them. Bone charms. We can activate like 7. That's crazy. And we have a whole crazy amount. What's this? Drop assassination. Ooh, that's good. Swim speed warrior. Moderate keyhole peeping magnification. That's good. River affinity. Swim speed. I don't know if we'll need that. We'll see. Breaking glass sound, that's good. Good lungs, that's good. Power effects, slightly improved. What's this? Gutter feast. White rats, no, I'm not. White rats won't attack you. Sure. Blast resistance, that's good as well. Fire water, fencer. Sword versus sword contest. We haven't had one of those yet. Well, I'm just going to equip these few for now. We'll see if they change the game too much. Since I'm so terrible at the game, that won't change very much, but we'll see. And yeah, there was a couple things to read in this area here. So we'll just start over here-ish and make our way around. Rumors and sightings. Dodd. Also, I hope you were enjoying my reading of stuff. I'm really interested in the lore of this game, so I don't know. I'm just gonna read everything. Excerpt from an Overseer's Covert Field Report. For over a year now, I have lived away from the Abbey, without the company of my Overseer brethren or the guidance of the blind sisters of the Oracular Order. Days have passed with me sleeping in the dens of cut purses, murderers and worse, and the nights have seen me prowling through the worst alleys and wretched corners of Dunwall. I have taken my meals with killers. At times I have ventured beyond the city walls, meeting in forgotten graveyards and the outlying ruins frequented by those of ill means. My beard has grown long, and I wear the weathered clothing and bits of boiled leather favored by the Bottle Street and Hatter gangs, and by those rough men and women who make their trade knifing others in return for coin. My hands have run red with blood, it's true, but I have selected my targets with care, choosing among those criminals and heretics who were not fit to live, executing them justly, and using their deaths as a means of building my reputation. So far this trick has allowed me to make my name among my murderous colleagues, without taking the lives of the innocent. My goal is singular. I must impress the assassin named Dodd in order to get close to him. Of all the practitioners of black magic we have tracked, none concern the Abbey as much as Dodd. It is said that his mother was a witch from one of the archipelagos? I don't know. Of the Pandician coast, taken captive by pirates venturing far from the Isles. According to legend, by the time the ship returned, the captain was dead and the witch controlled the crew, with Dodd still a shadow in her belly. The earliest stories tell of a gang killer without mercy, moving among the shopkeepers and city watch officers of Dunwall like a reaper through wheat. Then a period of silence followed. Years, we now believe, he spent traveling the Isles, studying anatomy and the occult in the great halls of learning and in hidden basements frequented by fellow dabblers in the forbidden arts. Dodd is even purported to have spent a winter in the Academy of Natural Philosophy itself, and for a time, before schism developed, he counted the Brigmore witches among his allies. All the while he honed his craft, and it is during this time that we believe he began to consort with the outsider. Is this something I should not read because I have not played the DLC? I'm not sure. I'm just gonna read it and we'll Mark it as spoiler. If so, well, we'll see. I don't think it's spoilerish. New reports emerged of a dusky-skinned assassin paid by the elite to eliminate their rivals in Dunwall and in the other major cities across the Isles. Those who saw him and lived numbered in the handful. Those who saw him and lived numbered in the handful, but all of them reported something strange. He appeared and vanished like smoke. From a nearby rooftop he gestured, and a noblewoman stumbled from her balcony, falling to her doom on the cobblestones below. Most recently, as this new threat of plague has risen in Dunwall, Dodd has been seen leading a gang of men in dark leather, dressed as factory whalers in their vapor masks. They seem loyal beyond comprehension for one so unworthy, leading me to wonder if some of his magic is dedicated to lulling their minds, enslaving them. Only a month ago, one young girl claims to have come upon a strange scene. Carrying a bottle of milk home to her crippled brother, she was taken a shortcut through the tailor's district. In a narrow street, she passed beneath a window and heard unusual sounds from within. Pushing aside the rutty curtain, the girl saw into an abandoned apartment used by miscreants for gambling and trading haberweed. An occult shrine had been erected against the far wall, which she recognized from the teachings given by her local overseer. A man she described as resembling Dodd was kneeling before the shrine, muttering to an unseen spirit, as if in argument. He took a carving, made of pale bone, from the altar before him, and the lights all went out in a gush of unclean wind. Quiet as a field mouse, she slipped away, running until she reached her home. There can be no doubt. Dodd is an agent of the outsider and must die, for there is no limit to the evil this man might do. This is my solemn oath and the great purpose of my life. Until Dodd is dead and his corruption has been purged from the world, I will continue to move among the depraved, winding my way toward him. I will not drop my guise or don my overseer's mask again until Dodd breathes no more. So there's some guy roaming about that's an overseer, but dressed up like one of Dodd's guys. If you don't know who Dodd is, we will find out shortly. Well, not really shortly, but kind of shortly. Field survey notes, the royal spy. Okay, that's going to be a lot of reading. I did not expect that text to be so long. Here we go. Excerpt from the personal memoirs of Hiram Burroughs, dated several years earlier. This is the 4th day. Month of high cold. Progress continues on the suppression of gang activity in the distillery district, but more slowly than I'd expected. The ruffians operating there have been cunning, I'll grant them that, but it's only a matter of time. I'll see their leaders flocked in public and sent beneath the royal executioner's blade. If I had my way, that mute bastard would be working night and day, removing the heads that need removing. Internally, the Empress does not seem pleased with my investigations. It seems that it is beyond her thinking, against her very nature as a trusting person, to believe that traitors move amongst us. But I know they do. They must. No. Jessamine would rather spend her time with the royal protector. At least he's likely to stop any immediate threat to her safety, but a strong arm is not what's needed against those who would undermine us. How will Corvo's sword stop a poisoned wineglass or an explosive delivered by courier? It will not. There are many threats around us, threats requiring meticulous efforts to police. Young Lady Emily is undisciplined, I'm afraid. Here within Dunwall Tower, she receives instruction from the finest tutors known in the Isles, yet her mother spoils her and she spends most of her time lost in imagination, wasting her time drawing or asking Corvo to teach her to fight with wooden sticks. The girl might rule the Empire someday. Every moment spent at play is a moment wasted. Shoring up security for the main gate leading into Dunwall Tower has been another pet project of late. To think that back in his day, Emperor Caldwin left it open to the public during the day, allowing anyone to come and go as they pleased. If it were up to me, I'd seal off access to the streets entirely. But the Empress won't hear of it. The waterlock is much easier to protect, and if it were the only way into the tower, traffic in and out would be greatly reduced. Someday, the wrong person is going to slip in and will suffer for it. Mark my words, no amount of security is excessive when it comes to protecting heads of state. The Empress also disapproved of my plans for the Sokolov devices. Sokolov himself has no interest in security, of course, but he's vain and therefore keen to see his inventions deployed in any fashion. This wall of light he's been tinkering with has promise. In any case, at least I was able to convince the Empress to upgrade the pistols carried by the officers of the watch. Why do I worry so when no one else seems to care? If I ever fall asleep, will it all sink into the ocean? Will the rough things clamber over the walls and fill themselves on our flesh? This is what I see in the same dream several times each month. If only I had more say in things, more authority, I could protect us all. Perhaps I've been working too hard. Dinner and an evening of conversation with a certain lady of refinement might be in order. Perhaps someone nice in the estate district. Hiram Burroughs, Royal Spy Master. He is probably in on the plot, or at least went completely crazy once the Empress was murdered, and basically did what France has done. Not to get all political here, but one thing goes wrong and the entire country goes completely crazy. So 2 idiots, or I don't know how many idiots, a couple idiots ruined an entire country worth of nice stuff. Anyway, enough talk about politics. We're not here to talk about politics. I'm not really qualified to do that. So yeah, I don't know why I'm just playing with this pillar, but I'm having fun. And yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Early life and criminal record of Slackjaw. Who the hell is that? I don't remember. Maybe we'll meet him later. Excerpt from a series of letters sent by a member of the Bottle Street gang. You want the chinwag on Slackjaw? What he was like when he was young? Before he got his name? Oh, he's got a cool head now, but it weren't always like that in the days before he was boss of the Bottle Street gang. Time was young Slackjaw wasn't such a reasonable man. Like most of us, he grew up on the streets, running with a pack of ragamuffins and avoiding the law, pinching whatever he needed. Dark-haired and dark-eyed, smoking a pipe by the age of 10. For them born in the brothels or coming from the orphanages, it was either the gangs or working with the mudlarks, and no one wants that. Some got pressed into the Navy or put down in the mines run by the Pendleton or Boyle families. As hard as it was on the streets, as hungry as we all got, at least we was free. By the time we weren't little ones anymore, Slackjaw was the one to watch, usually calling the shots when we took down a farmer's cart or sidewalk street vendor. He'd come up with a plan, give everyone some part to play, and decide on the split. Most of us just went along, cause we learned fast that we made out better like that. More food, more coin, plus none of us wanted to deal with Slackjaw when he was in a rage. He worked on a couple of big jobs with Black Sally across town, and that was enough to get the attention of the other bosses. He wasn't just a street kid anymore, now he was up-and-comer. He was an up-and-comer, which meant trouble. Another guy who fancied himself as such was Mike the Fish, who was working his way up running the protection racket among the factory women. One fine evening we were all taking in a bawdy show in the theater house. Mike the Fish and his lot are there in the cheap seats too, just down the aisle from us. Mike gets a wild idea. He wasn't big on planning, and throws a heavy ceramic spittoon at Slackjaw. Hits him square in the face and breaks his jaw. We look to see if there's gonna be a blood brawl. But Slackjaw just points at the door and we all leave, with Mike laughing at our backs. Waking up the next day without telling us why, Slackjaw motions for for all of us to follow. He still can't say a word, so we just come along. We stop at the docks, and Slackjaw buys, actually pays coin for it, a heavy chain covered in hooks. It's for fishing in the deep, something you'd attach to a long line off the side of a ship. It's about 4 feet, made of thick links, and there are shark hooks coming off it at different angles. Slackjaw's got that thing wrapped around his left arm, dangling at his side. Not sure how he knew where Mike the fish was staying, but when we reach his girl's house, Slackjaw throws a bottle through the window just like that. It's almost noon. There's a bunch of screaming inside, and Mike pokes his head out, looking wide-eyed and baffled. When he sees Slackjaw out in the street, a look come over his face that still gives me the willies. Pure murder. Mike comes out the side door bellowing like a blood ox, holding a cleaver, heading straight for Slackjaw. When they come together in the street, Slackjaw spins and the shark hooks bite deep into Mike's arm and shoulder. He screams, but Slackjaw holds on to the chain. He's standing there with his jaw broken, clenched tight, with the chain wrapped around his left arm's hooks sunk into Mike the fish, just knifing him as fast as he can. Mike couldn't fight very well, hooked like that, and using his left hand, but he was a big guy, and it took a lot of stabbing before he went to his knees. Everyone was cheering at first, but then we all went quiet. It just kept going and going, until it was just Mike the fish blubbering, crying like a baby, and the sound of Slackjaw's knife. When it was over, and here's the brilliant part, Slackjaw took out a note and stuck it to Mike's face with a nail. It just said, "If you want a job, come to Bottle Street." Slackjaw didn't talk right for a couple of months, but word spread fast. By the end of the year, once we had a sizable gang going, he sent out letters to the other bosses telling them that he was running a brand new crew over on Bottle Street. Most of them laughed or beat up the guys who delivered the letters. Green-eyed Trish even came back, missing a thumb. But apparently Slackjaw was expecting that kind of reaction and had a backup plan. A week later, 4 of the bosses were dead. Seemed like a series of unfortunate events, but everyone knew better. One shot dead by the watch while standing in the middle of a meat market. Another slipping and falling into the water, out cold. One of the older bosses found in bed with his belly opened and a Tivian pear stuffed into his mouth. Still not sure what that meant, and Sheila Barnesworth was found bubbling in a cauldron of hot wax. Slackjaw sent out another set of letters, offers to the underbosses, telling them they'd be treated fair as peers. He even sent Green-eyed Trish with one of the letters. All of the underbosses accepted. After spilling the guts of his main competition, Slackjaw went in for stabilizing his business, real neat-like, calling in favors, smoothing things over, giving everyone a little bit of coin or drink as a bonus, showing what he could be like as a boss. So everything got quiet, which always makes the boys of the City Watch nervous, of course. Word went out among the Royal Spymaster snitches, the responsible citizens group they called themselves, telling everyone working in a shop or sweeping off the front steps of their homes to keep a watchful eye for Slackjaw and his men, trying to suss out what they were up to and what had just happened. But Slackjaw ain't stupid. He greased a few palms among the shopkeepers and the watch too, telling them that he was in town to stay and that things would be run properly from now on, without so much blood. He was finally a real boss, ready to settle into the business of moving whiskey, running the hound fights, and offering up the ladies and gentlemen of the night, if you take my meaning. And then the plague came. At first, it seemed like a good thing. A few people got sick, and everyone wanted to buy those potions from Sokolov or Piero. Health elixir or spiritual remedy, they call them. Slackjaw told me he saw an opportunity. We already had an old whiskey factory with a still, where we could water the stuff down and sell it discounted. Doing the same with Sokolov elixir was a smart plan. Pretty soon everybody in the slums was sick and business was good. But after a while there were so many people down with plague that everyone got scared. Everybody started acting. Everybody started acting real nasty, and everything fell apart. When people can't work, they don't have the coin for elixir, watered down or pure. When the Empress died, it seemed like Dunwall would slide into the void. Spymaster Burroughs took over, and the Watch started using all that new Sokolov technology. Watchtowers, tall boys, and them arc pylons. They put up a wall of light across Clavering Boulevard and then cracked down hard. But Slackjaw surprised us again. Instead of leaving town on a boat bound for Morley or one of the other isles, he stayed and kept it all together. We get as much elixir to fight off the plague as the City Watch, with their taxes and rations, and that's kept us alive. So far. Crowley, Bottle Street Gang. I sort of remember this guy now. He's in the first mission. I'm not going to say any more about him until we finally meet him, but he was an interesting character, and I'm glad to have read this, so even though my voice is getting all messed up already. It's a lot of talking, and I should probably stop to get a drink. Let's just read. I'm gonna pause the recording, get a little sip of drink, and then I'll be back right here to read the rest of this.